The Middle East is undergoing a seismic shift. Once defined by rigid alliances and predictable power structures, the region now finds itself at a crossroads, where old certainties are giving way to new possibilities. For decades, the US guaranteed Gulf security in exchange for oil, priced in dollars, a partnership that shaped the global order. This arrangement not only fueled American prosperity, but also cemented the dollar's dominance in world markets, making the Gulf a linchpin of international finance and energy. But today, that foundation is cracking. Shifting geopolitical winds, economic uncertainty, and changing energy demands are all testing the strength of this once unbreakable bond. Saudi Arabia and Qatar are forging new ties with the BRICS bloc: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These relationships signal a bold willingness to diversify alliances and seek new opportunities beyond the traditional Western sphere. This isn't a sudden break, but a strategic pivot for economic independence and survival in a multipolar world. Gulf leaders are carefully weighing their options, seeking to maximize their influence and protect their economies from global shocks. The Gulf states are no longer passive players, they're actively shaping their destinies, questioning whether to tie their future to a single currency or partner. Their decisions now have ripple effects far beyond their borders, influencing global markets and diplomatic alliances. Their move toward BRICS is a calculated response to global instability, inflation, and trade wars. By building new bridges, they hope to insulate themselves from the volatility that has rocked the world economy in recent years. In Washington, President Trump calls BRICS an attack on the dollar, while Gulf leaders try to balance U.S. security ties with new Eastern partnerships. The diplomatic tightrope is growing ever more precarious, as both sides watch each other's moves with caution. The central question: can this balancing act last, or will the Gulf be forced to choose sides, reshaping the global order for decades? The world is watching, as the choices made here could redefine alliances and economic systems for a generation. The stakes have never been higher. The Gulf's next moves will echo across continents, shaping the future of energy, finance, and global power. To grasp today's changes, we must revisit the U.S. Gulf Pact, American military protection in exchange for oil priced in dollars. This petrodollar system made the dollar the world's reserve currency, fueling U.S. power and global financial dominance. Gulf states pegged their currencies to the dollar, gaining stability but sacrificing monetary independence. Their sovereign wealth funds worth trillions are deeply invested in U.S. assets, but this interdependence comes with risk. When the U.S. raises interest rates, Gulf economies must follow, even if it hurts locally. The old bargain, security for dollar dominance, is under review. Gulf leaders now question if the benefits outweigh the costs of being so tightly bound to a single economic power. As the world changes, so does the calculus. The Gulf is searching for new options. The era of unquestioned dollar supremacy is fading. In 2025, U.S. Gulf relations took a dramatic turn. Headlines around the world buzzed with speculation as the balance of power in the region began to shift. The stakes were higher than ever, and every move was watched closely by global markets and political analysts alike. The Trump administration signed over $1 trillion in tech and defense deals with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. These agreements were historic in both scale and ambition, promising to reshape the economic and security landscape of the Gulf for years to come. These deals weren't just about weapons, they centered on cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence and cloud computing. The contracts required all transactions to be conducted in US dollars, and American companies were given control over critical digital infrastructure. This was a strategic move, aiming to re-anchor the dollar's dominance in the Gulf's rapidly evolving digital economy and ensure American influence in the region's technological future. But this aggressive push for tech dominance came at a cost. In April, the U.S. imposed sweeping tariffs, even on its closest Gulf allies, targeting a wide range of goods and industries, with crude oil being the only exception. The move sent shockwaves through boardrooms and trading floors across the region. The message was clear: no one is immune from America First policies. Even long-standing partners would have to adjust to a new, more transactional era in U.S. foreign policy. This dual approach, offering lucrative tech deals while simultaneously imposing harsh tariffs, created confusion and resentment among Gulf leaders and business communities. Many wondered if the benefits of partnership were worth the growing risks. Gulf states now find themselves pulled in two directions: the promise of U.S. investment and technology versus the risk of overdependence on an unpredictable partner. The tension is palpable, with every negotiation feeling like a high-stakes tug-of-war. The new tariffs have hit non-oil industries especially hard, stalling growth and forcing companies to reconsider their supply chains. For many in the Gulf, it's a wake-up call, a reminder of the urgent need to diversify economic partnerships and reduce vulnerability. The result? The Gulf is more determined than ever to seek alternatives. Leaders are actively courting new partners in Asia, Africa, and among BRICS nations, hoping to build a more balanced and resilient future. The US now risks losing its privileged position in the region, a status it once took for granted. As new alliances form, American influence is no longer assured. The game is changing fast, and the world is watching as the Gulf charts a new course in a rapidly shifting global order. Economic anxiety is driving the Gulf's realignment. Oil wealth is no longer a guarantee of prosperity. Volatile prices and the global shift to clean energy threaten fiscal stability, especially when oil dips below what's needed to balance budgets. Currency pegs to the dollar, once stabilizing, now import U.S. inflation and limit monetary control. Recent U.S. tariffs hit key non-oil sectors, undermining diversification efforts in manufacturing and logistics. The Gulf sees these barriers as a sign the U.S. may not be a reliable long-term partner. Diversification is now about more than just moving beyond oil. It's about new trade alliances and financial arrangements. BRICS offers a path to a multipolar world, less dependent on the West. Trading in non-dollar currencies is becoming a practical solution. The Gulf is building a more resilient, independent future. BRICS has become an attractive alternative for Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Joining BRICS signals a move toward a multipolar world and greater strategic autonomy. Economically, it opens vast new markets in Asia and the global South, reducing reliance on the West. Politically, Gulf states gain a stronger voice as major energy producers within the bloc. BRICS offers cooperation, not confrontation, a narrative that appeals to Gulf leaders wary of zero-sum superpower games. By joining BRICS, the Gulf is not abandoning the West, but adding the East. It's a strategic recalibration to maximize options and secure interests in a changing world. The era of single allegiance foreign policy is over. Gulf alignment with BRICS has sparked serious moves toward de-dollarization, reducing reliance on the US dollar for trade. The goal: insulate economies from US inflation and sanctions by trading in currencies like the yuan or rupee. For Gulf Asia trade, using Asian currencies is increasingly logical. If oil is sold to China, why settle in dollars? De-dollarization would erode America's exorbitant privilege, weakening the dollar's global dominance and US leverage. But the transition is risky. The global system is built on dollar infrastructure, and Gulf reserves are dollar-heavy. A sudden shift could destabilize markets and hurt Gulf balance sheets. So, change will be gradual, starting with bilateral deals in local currencies, not a dramatic overnight switch. The petrodollar's dominance is eroding, but slowly. The world is moving toward a new financial order. The US is fighting back with a bold new strategy: re-dollarization, anchoring the dollar not just to oil, but to the Gulf's rapidly emerging tech future. As the world's economic landscape shifts, Washington is determined to ensure the dollar remains at the heart of global finance, even as new technologies and alliances threaten its dominance. Massive deals in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and digital infrastructure, financed in dollars and operated by US tech giants, are being rolled out across the Gulf. These partnerships are designed to make the dollar indispensable for decades to come, embedding it deep within the region's digital backbone and everyday transactions. The plan is clear: replace the old oil for security pact with a new technology for security alliance. This shift reflects the changing priorities of both the US and Gulf states, as energy transitions and digital transformation reshape their relationship. By embedding the dollar into the Gulf's digital infrastructure through payment systems, cloud services, and AI platforms, the US aims to secure not just its influence but also its financial power in a world where data is the new oil. American companies operating these high-tech Gulf data centers give Washington both economic and strategic leverage, allowing it to shape the region's digital future while maintaining a critical foothold in global finance. The UAE's alignment of tech regulations with US standards deepens this dependency, ensuring that American norms and the dollar's role are woven into the very fabric of the Gulf's digital economy. The US is betting that its technological supremacy will keep Gulf modernization and its vast wealth tied to the dollar, even as global competition intensifies. The ultimate goal, to make the dollar not just the currency of the past, but the currency of the digital future, powering everything from cloud transactions to AI-driven economies. It's a high-stakes gamble in a rapidly changing world, where technological innovation and shifting alliances could redefine the rules of global power. The outcome of this strategy will shape not only the Gulf's future, but the next era of global power and influence. The Gulf states are walking a diplomatic tightrope, balancing US and Chinese interests. The UAE exemplifies this, deepening tech and security ties with the US while expanding trade with China and BRICS. This dual-track approach lets them benefit from both American technology and Eastern markets. Gulf leaders leverage superpower competition to their advantage, extracting deals and investment from both sides, but the balancing act is risky. Washington's America First stance means patience is limited. At some point, the US may demand a clearer choice, especially in sensitive sectors. For now, the Gulf is navigating these waters skillfully, but the margin for error is shrinking. The next misstep could force a defining choice. The Gulf stands at a historic crossroads, shaping the future of the global order. One path, US re-dollarization, succeeds, anchoring the Gulf's future to American tech and the dollar. The other, the Gulf's pivot to the east, accelerates, eroding the petrodollar and strengthening BRICS. The likely outcome is a gradual evolution, a multi-currency world where the dollar remains important, but not supreme. The unipolar era is over. The Gulf is now a strategic player, not just a pawn. Their balancing act reflects a new, complex reality. The question, will this lead to a more resilient global economy or a fractured, unstable world? The answer will define the next decade.